and I say first hello.
Hello.
So I loved your film. I think that's one of the greatest film I've seen for a long time, and it brings for me what documentary should be, to show in one life the whole world, and that's really, really great. And my first question is, how and when did you fall in love with Indonesia?
Well, actually, it's a long story, because it was more of a coincidence that I ended up in Indonesia. I was actually going to travel for 3 months in India in 2004. And I lost my ticket back home to Norway. So I ended up at that time traveling for almost 2 years in all over Southeast Asia. And then I came to Indonesia. I was sitting in Padang, which is the closest city to the island where Amandpaksa lives. And then I was sitting there at the mosque talking with some people there, and they told me that they were living this monkey hunting barbarians on this island, and I shouldn't go there. It was not good. And then I immediately thought to myself that that's exactly where I want to go, you know. And this was in 2004 and late 2004. And then when I went there, I convinced someone at Muara Siberut, and Muara Siberut at that time didn't have any electricity and cars and all that stuff. So I stayed there for about a week and tried to convince someone to take me upriver as far as I could get. I met a guy, his name is Henry, and he is from Padang, and he had moved to the island and married a Mentawai woman. So he knew a little bit Mentawai, and he took me upriver, and after a couple of days in the canoe, we met with Amandpaksa, and that was an exciting moment for me, because I didn't know how he would react and stuff, and it turned out he was really nice and welcoming and curious, and also you can of course see in the film as well, he was a man in his best age, strong and really a beautiful human being. So
was it friendship on the first sight?
Sorry?
Was it friendship on the first sight?
Well, it took some time because Henry, who was with me, I could clearly see that he didn't like it up there. So it took about 5 days, I think, when we spoke with Amandpaksa and said, I want to stay there, but he wants to go back home because he didn't like it. So then Amandpaksa said, it's no problem. He will take me back home or take me downriver whenever I want to go back. And so I basically stayed there. And then from that day on, I was sleeping in his bed together with him. Because this is how it works in Mentawai. The women are sleeping in one side of the room and the men in the other side of the room. And from that day on, we kind of just became better and better friends, and mostly through walking around in the forest looking for fruits. And I was lucky at this time because it was Dura. It means that it's the biggest fruit season. It only happens maybe once every 4 years. So all the fruits trees are having fruits and lots of food. And then we communicated mostly with body language. So, but through this energy and how we were together, we kind of had a good time, and we enjoyed it. and then when I came back home again to Norway, I realized I want to go back. I couldn't stop thinking about this time with Amapaksa. Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about the decision you made? You went back to Norway and then you were there, and what was the point when you decided, oh, I have to make this film. I just have to go back. I can't be without it.
Well, when I came back, I had been in Asia for about 2 years, and for me it was a cultural shock coming back to Norway. Norway is a quite rigid country. I mean, it's a good country to live in many ways, but then again, it's so rigid in the way we think, and everyone should be the same, and we have certain times for certain things, and it's very robotic in a way. And this was hard for me to adapt to this. I worked for a while, I studied for a while, and then I just decided I have to go back to Indonesia. And the one thing that really had an impression on me was the life that Amapaksa led in the jungle, and I wanted to go back there. And then I decided I wanted to make a documentary, and this project just grew and became bigger and bigger and bigger.
Have you been a filmmaker at that point, or do you have any education, or did you have done any films before, or you just took a camera and said, okay, it takes equipment? You are an engineer, I think, so you know how to do the solar panels, I think. So just went over without film education, or how it was?
I don't have any film education. I just started to do research and learning the language, because I knew how to learn Indonesian, to learn Mentawai, and that was one part. And then I started to research all the equipment I needed, read books and books about directing and producing and everything. And then when I came down there, I just started filming, and now I have another documentary as well that is from Indonesia, and I'm working on my other a new feature-length documentary now. So I ended up in this industry kind of by coincidence. But my formal education is renewable energy engineering, so it's quite far, but it's a very exciting thing to do, working with the documentaries, and I figured I just love to tell these stories.
So if someone doesn't know, the short film of you is in the program as well, so you can see the other film as well, which is really, really funny, and I loved it too. But we stuck to that big project, which is really a long distance run, I think. So you came back to the island and you wanted to film the normal original life, but then everything has changed in between. But in the way, when you take your stuff and go there, you are part of the change as well. Have you thought about it before, that you will change just because you come there with a camera and electricity power? And was that a problem for you in before?
I've been thinking of this a lot. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a paradox, but then because I came down there and I wanted to film this this genuine unspoiled life. I had this romantic vision of how they were living and stuff like this. And then I realized that actually it's not me who is what's influencing their life. Actually, it's the world around them, and it's the Indonesians coming to the island, because a lot of Indonesians from all over Indonesia, they're moving to this island to look for a better life. And they are trying to make business with the Mentawaians. And on the island is about 70,000 people living on the island, and only a couple of thousand or maybe 4,000 people are living a traditional lifestyle. And what is happening is that Indonesia is developing in a blazing speed, and they are bringing banks, cell phones, everything into the island, and they are trying to modernize the Mentawaians. And so the Mentawaians are looking for up to the Indonesians moving to the island, and they are trying to close the gap between themselves and these Indonesian immigrants. And so me being there is not actually, the reason for this thing is happening. But what I think I try to do my role there, apart from becoming a real friend of Amapaksa and their clan, is to, I think they become kind of more proud of their traditional culture, and also the way that the development is happening is usually by giving them the worst of modernity, like palm oil plantations, generators to make lighting and water toilets for their houses, try to get them into social villages where they are making roof of steel instead of their regular sago leaf roofs. And ironically, this zinc roofs is lasting 8 years in this environment and it becomes trash. But their original leaf roof lasts for 20 years and it's not making a sauna of their house, right? So the new technology that comes in there is not really adapting to the environment, and it's not a real progress. But we as from the Western world or from the modern world could have provided the good stuff, the good ideas to Mentawai, like solar panels, things that could have been easily adapted to their environment. And of course, hygiene is something they could learn more about. Like we in the 1850s, we were laughing about washing our hands, and they are also doing that. But it's not because they are stupid. There's nothing like they're stupid. They are the same as us, and they have the same. They're just as smart and vital and everything as us. And then we could have brought these good things, and it would be probably the best place in the world to be born. But unfortunately, we are not doing that, and I think that's something we have to think about.
But it's not us who are not doing it. It's the Indonesian society, because do you think the European society has an influence as well? So yeah, you brought good stuff. You brought other things to them and showed them other things, but perhaps the Indonesian society isn't that far to that point to see that the other things are bad, or
yeah, in a way. And I try to bring good ideas and thoughts and things, but you know, Monsanto is selling their products there. Who has bought the whole tobacco industry in Indonesia? Is bought by U.S. companies. I mean, it's like an onion. It's like the thing that Jared Diamond, who wrote this Guns, Germs and Steel book, he said like the world is like an onion, and it seems to be like an onion. It's like you have this Western world who's the most powerful economic force, and then we are kind of bringing stuff to the less fortunate and in turn exploiting natural resources from Indonesia and other parts of the world, and then Indonesia is bringing the same for their own citizens such as Amapaksa, it's like an onion kind of, maybe.
Yes. So in the end, Amapaksa decided to go away from modern life and go back to the jungle. And how much is your influence in that decision? Do you have an influence in that decision?
Well, me and Amapaksa, we've been talking a lot about these things, but what I think contributed most to that, from what I have understood from Amapaksa, is two things. And one is that he came to Jakarta and Padang. He saw that there were big differences, people begging on the street. And he told me that he felt like he wanted to bring the children he saw there on the street back home to the jungle, because he knew that there they could have a good life. So I think he got this feeling that he couldn't really explain, because he don't know how to explain these things in a way. So he got this feeling that, how can this be right? How can this society, this way that they structure their society, be the right way when there are so many people and so huge differences, and some of them don't have anything? Because in Mentawai, you can expect to have your basic needs fulfilled. And it comes to Indonesia in general, and people can't even expect to have their basic needs. And that thing, I think, made him a bit fearful for what's happening. And the other part is that he came there and he saw that, oh, he sees all these things, and he wants it, he really wants it. But in order to get it, he becomes like a child. And he told me, like, I will become a child here. I can't, I have to learn everything again. And then what can I do? And that's why he insisted on giving his son in schooling, because he wants to make it so that he has a choice in the future what he wants
but
to
the
do.
daughters are going to school as well. But the daughters have been to school as well, so all children go to school. Oh?
Yes, and yeah, her daughters has been to school, but not the oldest one.
Okay.
So the oldest one didn't go to school. But before, he wanted his son to inherit the land and live like himself. And he changed his mind there, because he realized the world is moving into a different direction. And nowadays, I am actually following Amapaksa's cousins on Instagram, because and they want to be YouTube stars, you know. And this is not something that I have brought to them, but is something that is happening. And for me, since I started, I've also got Instagram, Facebook, and all this, and Google Maps and smartphones. And so for me, the world has also moved forward. But I don't know if it's in a good direction, because when Amapaksa's daughter is looking at her phone, and she sees a commercial for instance, eyeliners on her phone. Someone out there is generating money, because social media is transformed by this algorithm that only wants to earn money. And now Amapaksa and the clans in the jungle, they're one of the last people to connect to the internet. And the thing I think is amazing is that I had the chance to experience this society before they connected. And they hadn't seen, you know, like commercials on television and internet and all these opinions on cell phone devices and stuff like this. And the way they acted, they have all the characters, you know. They have the greedy one, they have the humoristic one, they have the happy one, they have the disciplinarian, you know. And they are so original in the way that they are behaving. And it's I think that was an amazing thing to experience. And now it's kind of gone.
But your friendship is still there. You're good friends.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting to get down there because now the Corona situation, I can't go there, but I'm just waiting to come down there, and I speak to everyone there on a regular basis. Amundsen more seldom because he's not within the reach of a cell phone very often. But I have regular contact with everyone, and for me, my soul is half Indonesian. I have to go down there, you know. So,
and could you live there permanently?
In Mentawai, no. I mean, I need both in my life. I really appreciate the society I'm coming from as well, and Amundsen knows that I'm not trying to become like him. We respect each other as equals. We're coming from a different place. I'm coming from Norway. I'm a city guy after all, and I kind of need both Indonesia and Norway. It feels like that for me. I'm drawn between two places in a way.
Something very important you want to say about your film, or what you feel in the moment, or anything that is for you important?
Yeah, I can talk about these things a lot. So I'm just blabbering away. I hope it's okay. But well, I think I'm very happy that you wanted to show NEWTOPIA, and I thank you for that, because I think there's a lot of people in the film documentary industry that prejudge the film as well, as being you know, they are afraid of this white Western guy going to Indonesia documenting these brown small guys. And I've been told it like this sometimes, you know, that this is not what we do. And I think this is saying it like this, because in this industry there's a lot of people also, they have this left-wing moralistic thoughts, you know, and I can appreciate that, but when they say it like this, it means also they are more ethnocentric and prejudgmental than myself regarding this issue, because then they are implicitly saying that Amundsen and the way he lives is less worthy than the way I live, implicitly. So when people are, and I think that's sad, because then we are moving in the wrong direction. And say, for instance, there's been some festivals, they haven't wanted to take on the film because I have the voiceover. And the fact is, Amundsen, he hadn't been able to film this film by himself. And the process has been so long, 15 years. And I've submerged into this, and I become a real fan. And the film is just a byproduct of the whole friendship and the whole project.
Yeah, it's honestly, and it's authentic. And I like that very, very much. And you feel it. And I think, don't care what anyone says, because you have to do your film, and it's great. Yeah. And we are really happy to show it here. And thank you for
it. I
really
appreciate it. I mean, if I would really understand the criticism if I came down there filming for 2 weeks or maybe a month, and or maybe being just an observer, filming them and not involving them, and not even being involved myself, because
but
then
you became a part of the story, because 15 years is a long time. We saw you growing up. Yeah. When the first pictures you really had been a boy, and at the end you're a man. And I really like that you were becoming a part in your friendship, and it's a story about friendship. And I think it's very, very good to show it, that there can be friendship between so different people like you and Amapaksa. That's great.
Yeah, I was there in 2019, and then I didn't film anything. I was there to be together with Amapaksa, and I wanted to show him the final result of the film.
Yes, that was my last question. So has he seen it, and what did he say?
Yes, he has seen it, and also during the process I tried to explain, because this has been a process, you know, explaining what am I trying to do, and at times I wasn't sure even myself what I'm trying to do. I was just there. But he has seen the process of the film. We've seen of how you can manipulate things with film, and also he now has seen the final result, and that was in late 2019, and I was really happy because I could see that he felt proud of what he saw. And he said to me that he said, Audun, this is, or Odin, he calls me Odin, this is part of a history. And that's exactly it. I mean, this is a part of history that will never be filmed again, because once it has happened the way it has happened with the progress of everything, it won't go back again. At least it seems like it won't go back again. So it's definitely a historical document as well.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. I think we should come to an end now. And so great that we had this talk.